expert, baby. I need to put you in my back pocket because I need some advice. Everything. Welcome, you are on the scene. I'm your girl, Racheal J, and this is a very, 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 very exciting show for you. We have the relationship expert, Love McPherson. Yes,
Racheal is truly the host of this show. Like if you haven't felt that energy already, you should, because it's just bouncing off.
God, I love it. It's amazing to have you here.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't contain myself. We do have our live audience interactive shows. We have some beautiful people here. Announce yourself, baby girl.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ananja.
Ain't she a cutie? Look at that little bitty slam. Oh, girl, you so cute.
Oh my God.
Yes, and my girl.
Brick Malone.
Brick Malone. See, Brick, let me tell you something. Fashion designer Brick Malone, putting it down, okay? We'll be in Chicago Fashion Week, tearing it up again in October. Brick Malone. Yes. Come on, Scooty and ladies, we can get close and get intimate for this conversation. So I know we don't have a whole lot of time, so we're gonna kind of dig right into it with our good old relationship questions. But first, just let everyone know, you know what? Relationship expert. That's a heavy title to hold.
Yeah. You know what? One of the things is the relationship. The expert part comes from trial and error of my own relationships.
Right.
But I thank God that I have been in a relationship with my husband for 36 years. And we love each other, right? Okay, so that's saying a lot. And I was able and privileged to watch a 60-year relationship with my mom and dad. Not the whole 60 years.
Right.
I was number 6, so it started before I got there.
Wow.
6 of 8 children. And they had a really loving relationship too. Then of course the training and all of that. And so I am glad to be able to impact the lives of others, give them the skills of relationships and teach them how to love better. And that's my mission.
That's beautiful because I don't think people really think of a relationship as it's kind of like a business.
Oh yeah.
You know, you gotta break it down, you gotta communicate, you gotta budget it out, you gotta be like, get away from me right now, I need a moment. So and I really wanted to, because I'm in a new relationship, and it's an interracial relationship.
Okay.
And what it took for me it was such a process, because I have 2 sons. I have an 18-year-old and a 15-year-old, both African American. So I felt like if I dated someone outside of my race, then I may be telling them that I don't love black men, which means I don't love them. So that's kind of the depth, the two that I went through to even allow myself to say, okay, but it's love. Love has no color. So just what is your input on that?
What I would say is this. It is not about bringing in a person of a different culture. It's how the cultures respect and honor each other.
Yes.
And so you're not trying to force them into your culture. You just want them to appreciate. You want to learn. You don't want to dishonor them by not even learning their culture. And I'll tell you something. That's probably the biggest thing that I find in multicultural relationships is the people don't learn the culture. They learn the person. They connect with the person, but but the culture affects us. Like, one of our biggest things is people don't understand us as black people. Black men have a whole different set of things.
Right.
You may not know the experience, but you should at least know the struggle. You should know the victories. You should know the history.
Right.
You should know something so you'll know what are the expectations. Right. If you go into certain places, there are certain expectations of you that the culture demands. And so what you have to do is, in a relationship, understand what the culture demands of the woman that's in a relationship with that man. You said he was Greek. Okay? So if he's a Greek man, the Greek goddess, God, right? And so if he is a Greek man, then you have to learn some history of Greece. You have to understand what is the norms in the place and of a Greek woman, and does he come from the old world Greek, where his relatives have influenced his decision? What is his mother looking like? What is dad expecting? And then when it comes to your sons, he has to honor and realize and honor the fact that their plight, their path will not look like his, and he's got to be okay with that.
Right,
they also need to realize that there are certain doors that will open or privileges that he will receive that you will not be able to get away with.
Right.
So that requires what? Excellent communication. Communication is going to be key.
Yes.
Honor is going to be key. Celebration is going to be key, where we're not hiding. We are celebrating the Greek. We are celebrating the African American.
Right.
We are all celebrating each other.
Right. Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. I'm like, look, hold on. Yes, that's wonderful and beautiful. You brought up so many good keys. And the biggest thing is celebrate.
Yeah, you have to celebrate.
Sometimes we focus too much on our differences, or how are we going to do this, and instead of being like, let's just celebrate.
But see, in that, let me tell you something. You're saying something very important, because it's our differences that divide us. When we don't speak the same language, even going back to biblical days, it divided an entire city that was very much on target with each other. Right. But the difference is this. Even in the culture right now, in the country right now, all we have to do is put names of people. We place them in categories and divide, because we have a fear of your way is different than mine. Yeah. We don't get we tolerate your differences instead of celebrate your differences.
Yes.
And we in a relationship, if you are tolerating it and it's so far removed from what the norm of your household, and you're like, come over here so I can feel safe. Right. No. Right. Learn, see the whys, and experience it. And embrace it. Right. Don't fear it.
Wow. Embrace it, don't fear it. I'm gonna embrace. Woo! Yes! Oh! L-O-V-E-E-E-E.
I love her, okay? I
love her. Yes! Oh my gosh. And I want to keep you all to myself, but I gotta share. I gotta share the love. So Anaja, so what has been your experience with relationships? Do you have a specific question, or what's your relationship status?
Well, I'm fresh out of college, so I feel like I've come from a place where it's like, what is a relationship? No one really is in a relationship in my age demographic. It's the weirdest thing. So I don't know. I feel like what I want is definitely something real. I feel like I consider myself like a traditional girl, so I want marriage and the whole shebang. But I just don't know how attainable that is right now, considering my generation, like early 20s, no one, they're just trying to have fun. Okay?
So let me ask you something. When was the last time you were in a long-term relationship?
I haven't actually been in a real relationship.
You have not?
No, I haven't.
Okay, and so never in your life?
No.
Okay.
Out of choice, though. I feel like they weren't offering what I felt like I wanted, and then it's the whole like, oh, you have high standards. Like, I don't want a relationship right now. And I'm like, well, you gotta go, because we want two different things.
Sure. And is one of the standards kind of like an abstinence or something lifestyle or something like that? Or?
Well, yeah, but it would never even get to that part. You know, like it would just be me on a daily basis. Like, I want good communication. I want consistent communication. I want to be taken out on dates. I want to be courted, and they're just like, I want casual. I want Netflix and chill.
Right.
So it's just like,
for the night and get some, Yes.
And so the thing about it is, when I look at you, one of the things that even when we were out in the vestibule, just my first appearance was, wow, perfectionism. Like the eyebrows, the makeup, the hair, just really, really put together. And so first of all, as you were friendly as you opened up to me. But before that, you were so pretty until you could fit in the stereotype of unapproachable.
Whoa.
Okay? And so you have to make sure that you are actually inviting. Okay? Once you're inviting, then this is what has to happen though. You have to be able to have some grace and see beyond some of the surface things that guys present. At your age, like you said, straight out of college, even if you get your college guys, most of them are already married to Sally Mae, okay? And they gonna be strapped up with her for a minute, okay? Okay, she ain't letting them out. Okay,
Right.
it's gonna take a lot, and they ain't gonna really have to have a big divorce settlement.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
so,
Oh my God.
that's first thing. Okay,
Okay.
you just a side chick. Okay. And it's truth, you know. So most guys, okay, you can get the kind of guy who says, you know, I ain't about that, and I don't care. You know, I ain't got that much money. You got the money though. You know, you got a good job, everything. Let's just go out. Maybe I won't take you out. Or you like Netflix? I do too. Let's just hang out at the house. We ain't gotta go nowhere. You're like, well, I would like a date. I kind of thought I would get a date.
Yeah.
You know, so you got that kind of guy who would try to approach you, but then you have the other guy who says, I'm just trying to come up and, you know, get my finances together, get my finances in order. I can't even put marriage on my mind right now. And so it's going to be years before I get to the point where I'm just that type of self-sufficient. Now that's the kind of guy you want, but that would be the guy you would have to wait on. Or you can get a much older guy who will say, a young goody like you, okay? And you know what I'm saying? And I'm just keeping it real. And so he will come for you and snatch you right on up. And so but then you'll be like, no, I don't want no Viagra. I'm just if the young guys don't pass your test, nope. You know, and you have to stop and say, what is the notes about? Are they surface things that can be changed? Okay, I don't like your shoes. Well, shoes can be purchased.
Okay, no, that's not even the problem. And then the whole money thing, like, look, I'm fresh out of college. I know Sally Mae oh so well, so it's not that, you know. And then a whole like date versus Netflix and chill. They want the good, okay? I want conversation.
Sure.
So it's just, I feel like a difference in desires. I feel like right now, like the 20-something-year-old guys are just like, what? I want to go out. Like I just want to kick it with the guys, or I just want to smash.
Yeah.
Many girls I want. I'm just like, can we go together?
That's real. That is absolutely real. At your age, you're in early 20s.
Yeah, I'm 23.
Okay, yeah. At your age, they're not marriage minded.
Yeah.
Many of them. So, and where are you seeing these type of guys? Like, are you in environments? A lot of times, what happens is this: if you are going to find a more serious guy who's more marriage minded, then maybe he would have to be from a home where marriage is expected. Like there's mother, father, we've been grooming you for marriage, you know, to be marriage material. He's seen a positive marriage where he feels good about it. He's not wounded from a divorce or any other kind of things that have happened in his and then church, because they may be, you know, their religious upbringing and their standards and stuff say, no, I'll wait. You're worth the wait. So those are some of the things that where you're looking, who you're looking at, what age group is ready for your type of seriousness.
Yeah.
And then you can't go into a date thinking immediately, I'm going to have something serious. It has to be like it should evolve.
Yeah.
To that, you understand, and so the first day shouldn't be an interview of, well, I want marriage and I want this and this and that. And then
no, I don't want to get married until like 10 years from now, but I'm just saying like that is the goal, and I feel like guys are just not there, like all in all.
Not in the 20s.
Yeah, no, and it's not even the goal. That's the thing. It's a goal of mine. I know it's not happening in like 2 years.
But right now you're just looking for like committed relationships.
Yeah, stability, growth together. Not
there's
like my mind
there.
being messed with, you know?
Yeah. Keep your standards.
Okay.
But I did love what you said about sorry to interrupt.
No.
About, because I always would say to myself, am I inviting? Like, am I just, you know, how do I ask guys, I'd be like, what did you think when you first met me? I mean, you know, or did you, I asked my guy friends, like, what is your impression of me? You know, when you first met me, am I inviting?
What do they say?
Some of them, they say a lot of them are just intimidated. They be like, Racheal, there's nothing that you, because you're loving, you're all on us, but we're, you know, like intimidated. I'm like, well, I can't help that. But like, it's how do you give those?
That's confusing. What is that? What is this intimidation thing? Because I feel like I'm bubbly and like welcoming, but you said it took a while to kind of get there.
Let me tell you something. As soon as you started talking,
but
when you're sitting there alone and you were just, I'm thinking, your size. And I'm not intimidated or by like rejection or anything.
Yeah.
I want to get it like, oh, she's hard to get to. I'm going to come in, but you weren't. As soon as you began to talk, you were very, very inviting. Your personality was warm and everything. It was not what I expected. When you were just sitting there quietly, it was not what I expected to happen. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Wow.
You immediately, right? Yeah.
Well, I'll take that into consideration.
Yes.
I know what to do differently though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just keep growing, just growing as a person and taking this and just kind of break down what she said. She gave you a lot. She gave you like a full plate. Maybe you just need to eat the potatoes right now. And just that openness is something that you
were a pleasant surprise. That's what you are.
Oh.
Yes.
Yay! Thank you. That's true.
So brick.
I'm engaged and
Congratulations!
yeah, but we've been together for like 12 years.
Okay.
So it's finally, like, we're gonna make that move.
Yeah, very good. And do you know why you took 12 years?
I'm a slow mover.
It was your part.
I'm
You
a
were
slow
moving
mover,
slow.
yeah. I'm a slow mover. I've always been like that. It's like I want to make sure, that's the right person I want to be with. So,
And he wanted it sooner.
I think he was pretty much on the same page, but he's one of those type that want to get something done right then and there. If he has it on his mind, he's gonna do it.
Right.
That's how direct he is.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And are you a slow mover because you are a learner, like from a past relationship gone wrong? You said, not gonna repeat that cycle again.
Yeah. I done had my share. I know you know I had my share.
Right.
So a lot of times, slow learner could be code word for fear.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
And so one of the things that you have to believe is that a lot of times when you get burned in relationships, is what you'll find is that people become fearful to go to the next level because they stop trusting themselves. They say, do I have what it takes to figure it out if this is right? And actually, the longer you wait, beyond several years, you will start seeing people for real.
Right.
Then you also begin to see that, man, Johnny ain't gonna change, right? Okay, like all this time I've been asking Johnny to make that move to change, and Johnny ain't motivated to change. And so now you're like, you begin to say, if Johnny loved me, would Johnny change?
Right.
And I am saying to you that you go for the character of a person, but do realize that change usually happens by revelation or devastation. So it's not going to be you nagging or the fact that you love him. Johnny is sometimes the change is what you're looking at is conditioning. And you're not looking at whether they love you or not. And so you'll interpret it like that. Like, if he loved me, he would spend more time, or he wouldn't be out, or quality time, or do this and that. And actually, he may have had a situation where in his home there was some poverty or something. I'm not saying your situation. I'm just giving you a hypothetical. And there was some situation of poverty and things. So he has said, I'll never be broke like that again. I'll never lack like that again. My father wasn't there. I saw my mother working hard. I'm going to work, and I'm going to do this. Right. And so he's just working, driven by his subconscious, I will never again. You might think, well, what about me? Like, you're neglecting me.
Right.
But in the truth of the matter is, that's not what's happening. You may be experiencing it like that. And you may even be experiencing it like that off of your rejection issues of a father who didn't come get you.
Right.
And you were the girl who was sitting at the window waiting for daddy to come home. And he was making promises and not keeping them. So broken promises hurt you more than they hurt the average person, because you have scar tissue there. And so all of these things can play off of each other, and you will interpret and label, and then labels give you an excuse to treat people badly, and then you'll say, I need to 5 wolves to howl in my backyard, and then a bonfire just appeared. And when God sends that, and plus an angel to come and take the water hose garden and put it out, then I'll know for sure that God is with us, and we are clear to move forward.
Okay, so I'm like, look, just open up the heavens. Come down here and be like, that's the one. That's the one. I'm like, okay. You could have sent Michael Gabriel. You didn't have to come down here yourself, but thank you. So do you think we expect too much out of the next person? Like the saying, I think that gets misconstrued a lot to me is.
I think people always like this say, do we expect too much? Actually, I think we expect the wrong things. Okay. And the wrong thing equals too much. Meaning this, we expect a broken person to fix us.
Woo! Hallelujah!
We expect men or women to show up and be what daddy was never was. But the problem is your brokenness attract daddy right back to you, so you continue to repeat the cycle. Your brokenness will attract the relationship you have never fixed in your life. So they're not gonna fix it. The fixing comes through the seeing yourself, the trials, and realizing I need to fix this pattern of life that I am in the cycle. You think it's him that's fixing it. It's the tribulation you going through with him that's going to fix it.
Yes.
Absolutely. Because you're going to have to redefine what you saw. If you saw your father not showing up and say you were the girl in the window, waiting for daddy, mom didn't dress you up, he's supposed to be picking you up and taking you somewhere. You're the girl in the window, and he'd not show up. Guess what's going to happen? Right then, that is a defining moment in your life. However, you're going to define it like the 8-year-old little girl. If daddy loved me, he would pick me up. Now, let me tell you something. That's going to go right down past your mental. It's going to go into your spirit, in your heart. It's going to go into your spirit. And you are going to operate off of that. So every time a broken word or something like that happens, somebody could just be busy, they have a job, a whole job, and they have to work overtime. But if you love me, you won't even think it. It'll be so unconscious. But the trauma of that will respond to it. Your entire being will respond to the fact that you already planted that definition of what you saw. So then you'll also say, I'm not important. I must not be important. I must not be worth fighting for. I must not be. You will begin to now place a price tag. Their behavior will now place a price tag on you, and you will live by that. So if I'm not worth fighting for, then I bet not get men who then I will attract men who don't fight anyway. It'll continue to re-injure me until I learn, wait, I am worth fighting for. But you have to go back and look at that situation with adult eyes, not with 8-year-old eyes. And you look at that situation and say, look out the window now as an adult and say, what do I see out there? I see dad not pulling up. But let's go look at dad. Was that about me, or was that about dad's brokenness? Was that my worth, or was that his worth? Was that him on alcohol? Was that him on drugs? Was that him so broken from his family life till he didn't even have the ability to love me correctly? That had nothing to do with me. Then you operate as an adult and not as a child.
That's deep.
That's really deep. That's really deep.
Important.
Yes. It's because I think we live a lot of surface life in these relationships. It's he got money, she fine. Do we look good on each other's arms? And that's the wrong way to do it.
We constantly respond to people poking into our injuries. And it's called triggers, but you're just putting fingers into my injury. I got a pain, I got an injury here of rejection. boom.
Boom.
I got an injury here of abandonment, boom. I have an injury of verbal abuse, boom. I have an injury of relationship trauma from seeing domestic abuse in my home,
Right.
boom. All of those things that you see happening, and then we respond to it, and a person is wondering, why are we responding in such a way when that was not the intention of my heart? And so then we said we need communication skills. We do. We absolutely do. But guess what? If my glass has dirt in it at the bottom, and you pour a clean bottle of water in there, and I look at it and say, you poured dirty water in my glass. I didn't.
Right.
I poured clean water. Your glass was already dirty.
Right.
No matter how I talk to you and speak to you in your heart, if you are injured by words and somebody has verbally abused you and talked to you a certain kind of way, you will still consider this arguing. If I'm giving you constructive criticism, you'll still see it as verbally abuse.
Yes.
Why? Because your glass is dirty. You got to be healed of that, so what you even hear can come from a place of strength to absorb it and do better.
Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Woo!
That's
Yes.
good.
Just know that Miss Love does provide counseling services.
Yes, I do.
As well as your husband.
Absolutely.
Yes.
When it's couples, we'll work together. Yes, we are together.
So if you guys just need some one-on-ones, I think that counseling and gets a negative connotation, especially in our in our community. I don't tell nobody my business type situation.
Yeah.
But you know what? That's the worst part, because what I have found in our community, it's horrific trauma that has gone all the way back to slavery. We have repeated cycles, because cycles will continue until you unearth this stuff and decide, make a choice to change the way that you handle things. And so the level of traumas that we have as a community and as a culture, we must address it. We must be healed.
Yes, absolutely. We'll leave all the links for Miss Love as well.
I have one question.
Yes, Barbara.
Okay, so this question comes from Ebony Scott. She would like to know how soon can you start dating after a divorce?
How soon can you? You may not. After a divorce, you will come back with some emotional injuries. Now, let me tell you something. If that was physical injuries, and say in the form of a head-on collision with a truck, a semi-truck, trailer, if you had that type of injury, there might be some broken bones, there might be some delicacies and things of head injuries and things like that. You will only be healed at the rate in which you follow the prescription. You will only be healed at the rate in which you actually call 911 and go to the doctor. Now, you can go home after that injury and none of your bones will grow right. You can go home and you will forever have headaches. If you don't get healed on purpose after the divorce, which is so devastating, then you may not be meet for a new relationship ever. You'll just go in there and do everything wrong. You will be dysfunctional. And so what I'm saying to you is, at the rate in which you seek help for your injuries from the past divorce will determine. And when you are able to look at that situation and no longer, you may see the scars, but you will not feel the pain.
Ooh! Woo! All right now. Tell me something about it. All right. Heal on purpose.
Heal on purpose.
Love on purpose. We are with Love McPherson, baby. Oh my God. Our ears have been blessed. Our heart has been blessed.
I've been read.
Okay, I got the chills over here. I don't know whether to go to church or I don't know what to do right now. I'm like, go on, Tyrone. Oh my gosh. You guys can get as much of love as you want. You can definitely contact her and her husband for any type of single counseling or couple counseling.
LoveMcPherson.com.
Yes, lovemcpherson.com. We'll have that in the notes for you. Any final words for the audience here, and just what do you have coming up that we can support you in as well?
Great. Well, next week I want you to tune in. First of all, go to my website and you can follow me. I want you all to follow me on all my social media handles. Okay. I'm at my max on but you can like my business page, but I'm at my max on my personal page on Facebook. But I want you to still follow me on Instagram. Go to my IG page, follow me, share this broadcast, follow me on Twitter. And then I want you to be able to go to my website and see my itinerary. I think I just even posted an itinerary on my Facebook page. I have the Shine Conference coming up. That's Smoky Norfolk, and that's in a couple of weeks. That's the 20th, 21st. The 20th? Oh, okay. I have Treville Wade coming up on the 19th. That's on a Friday. And I have the privilege of interviewing her, Dwayne, and Dwayne Wade, Gilway, and their family. I'm looking forward to that. Get your tickets for that at the Odyssey Fun Club. I have next week I'm the Willie Moore Jr. show. I'm hosting while he's out of town. He's in like 52 markets, so you'll be able to hear that all over from that next Wednesday. And then I have some other things coming up that is posted. Yeah, it's on my itinerary.
And major shout out to Tiffany.
Yes,
my
executive assistant.
Yes, you're handling it, okay?
Absolutely.
It's a family affair. On that note, now that we've got love, baby, I know what I'm gonna do. Okay, I'm gonna do for some great. Okay. Thank you all so much for tuning in. You are on the scene. We'll have all the links for Love's itinerary and her page and everything. And guys, definitely take advantage of this advice, because it's time for us to start being more inward. You know, our focus is too outward with social media and with the Kardashians, everybody else's standard of life and love. You need to look inward to figure out who you are. And we do have one more thing to do. We want to present Miss Love. Miss Love with the, you are officially on the scene, baby!
On the scene!
On the scene! Yes, yes! We love you, Love. Thank you for what you do. Because you are healing people from the inside out. Because love is so important. And to leave this earth and not experience true and real love is the biggest tragedy of everything.
Thank you.
So
It's
thank
been a
you.
pleasure.
Being so wonderful. Woo! Love in the building. You're on the scene. There you go. Racheal J. Holla. Corey Hendricks. 719. We in there, baby. Tune in next week.